there is one mistake that students commit in theory of knowledge during the IB. Alright, that's not true. There's many of them, but this is the only mistake that will actually make you fail not only TOK, but the entire IB diploma. You can have a grade, everything, you can have 7 points in everything, but if you mess this up, you won't get a TOK grade and therefore you will fail your diploma. Now, I'll say what the mistake is in 10 seconds, but let me just say this first. It's really easy to make this mistake obvious and say it, but it's quite hard to actually acknowledge it, notice it, and then change it. All right, now that's the time I wanted to say what I want to say. The mistake that you're making, or that many students make, is that you're not actually doing theory of knowledge and you're not actually doing epistemology. Let me explain. Hey there, my name is Emiliano, and I, quite honestly, really like TOK, epistemology, and philosophy. In this video, I'm gonna break down the one singular problem that TOK students make that makes them fail TOK or not get the grades that they wanted to get. So what's the problem? The problem is that we're not actually doing theory of knowledge when we think we are. We mistake TOK, which is just a branch of philosophy. It's not the whole tree, it's not philosophy, it's a branch of it, with other things that we conflate with philosophy, like existentialism, which is questions like why, how, what's our purpose, where do we come from, etc., which is philosophy but not TOK, or with ethics, so moral dilemmas, moral issues, ethics, is this right or wrong, etc., which is also a branch of philosophy but not TOK either. And that's not what TOK is. TOK is a branch of philosophy called epistemology that, if you don't understand, you can check out in this video, and is defined by this. It's basically philosophy but focusing on knowledge and what we know and how we know it, etc. And it's important to know that when we go to the solutions, but before we go to the solutions, we have to know how to identify it, where it can be presented, and that's it. So 2 steps before we reach solutions. Stay with me and we'll get there soon enough. So where can this issue be presented? Well, quite simply, it can be presented in your day-to-day TOK lessons. However, it is important that it is not present in your assignments that are going to be handed in for a grade. So the essay, the presentation, and the exhibition. It is also important that you more or less understand what epistemology is in your day-to-day classes, so that you're approaching the class with the right mindset, mind frame, and that you are generally understanding where the teacher is coming from. But it's not as important because you're not being really graded on that. It is crucial that there is nothing but TOK in your presentation, essay, and exhibition. So alright, say that you are confident that it's not in your classes, but you're not so sure if it's in your essay, presentation, or exhibition yet. You still have time to identify it and to fix it. How do we identify it? Well, there's 2 main ways. First one is that you should make sure that you are using key terms for theory of knowledge, so ways of knowing or walks, areas of knowing or AOKs, then specific terms regarding knowledge, so knowledge, knowing, diving into what the walks and AOKs are, so like reasoning, history, mathematical thinking, sense perception. Using all that vocabulary is a great way to know that you're still on track and still talking about knowledge. Plus, signposting is a great way to let the examiners know that you know what you're talking about. The second way is that if you find yourself not talking about knowledge, but you still think you're talking about philosophy. So for example, if you're going on about a moral dilemma without talking about knowledge, then it might be philosophy, but it's not epistemology, which is a huge mistake that you want to avoid. So yeah, make sure you're signposting with using TOK language, and you are talking about knowledge and not going on a tangent about any other philosophical branch. Okay, so if you know where you can look, you've looked and you found a few issues. How can we solve this? So the solution is to understand what TOK is now that you know the problem by watching this video on how to understand TOK. And then a more specific video, especially on the essay, you can watch this one. And a more specific video on the presentation, you can watch this one. You can subscribe for the video on the exhibition that I'm working on right now. And on a more practical note, you need to be thinking about knowledge, even if it's just the word knowledge and not the concept, every word you type. So if you stop thinking about knowledge, take a 5-minute break, and then go back to your essay, go back to your presentation script, go back to your exhibition, and read your last paragraphs. Make sure that they're all talking about knowledge, how we know what we know, how we get information, what is knowledge. All of those are very TOK basic questions that you need to answer. And a great way to not lose track of whether you're talking about TOK or not is to write essays using the APEC model, which I have explained in this video over here, and that I have actually used a paragraph of my TOK essay on that video over here. So go check that out so you can see a specific example of TOK essays and of the APEC model. And if you want to look at my essay or my presentation or anything like that, email me, drop a comment, and I will send it to you through email. So thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing. I really appreciate it. I hope this is helpful. If you have any other ideas, drop them in the comments as well. You can watch these videos in this playlist for more TOK things, or you can watch all the videos I recommended, which are all good too. And I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.